Today I'd like to talk about Kaliyuga, the source of all our problems, Maya, the foot soldiers of Maya. When Kaliyuga came into being, how long it will last, how the times will deteriorate, and how to escape. This may be done over 2, possibly even 3. I touched this topic very briefly in January, but I think I would like to explain it in far more detail. Today, I am going to share with you 3 experiences of 3 most beautiful prophets with Kaliyuga, Maya, Shaitan, or the devil. The experience of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, as quoted in the Janam Sakhis, the B40 Janam Sakhis. The experience of Jesus Christ, and the experience of Muhammad. 3 prophets, 3 different time zones, and yet all suffering. Well, I would not say suffering, I would say experiencing the force of Kaliyuga, or a demonstration for us, at least, to show how strong this Kaliyuga is. Let's start off with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Please close your eyes. Go deep inside you into your mantra. For the next 35 minutes, it's just you and your beloved Lord. We are all one. The sun was beginning to set. 2 figures was walking into this dark, dense, and deserted forest. A long grey path upon which they were traveling. There was not a soul in sight, other than the scattering of leaves and twigs. As they entered the forest, trees were casting dark, ghostly shadows. And in front was a tall figure of a divine soul in perfect poise. In his hand, he had a mala, the prayer beads, and his beautiful divine lips were uttering the word of Sat Kartar, Sat Kartar. The Lord is the truth. The Lord is the truth. Everywhere he placed his divine footsteps seemed to give life to the dead ground beneath him. A glow seemed to emanate a few inches above his crown and surrounded his divine body. This was Baba Nanak Ji. Following his master was his long-time disciple, a Muslim musician by the name of Mardanaji. And many years they had traveled together. And he had followed his Guruji without any questions. When his master Guru would start singing the divine hymns of Gurbani, Mardana would pull out his rabab. Guruji would say, Mardana ji, Bani Aiya, the divine word has come. Open and accompany the beautiful Gurbani with the rabab. And dutifully, Mardana ji would play some beautiful melodious notes to the Gurbani. So sweet was the voice of his master Nanak that all in the vicinity would become peaceful. Tonight, they had been walking for many hours, but something was going to happen tonight. There was something in the air that was not right. And yet Mardana ji could not put his fingers onto it. Mardana was tired, but he had no desires to sleep in this forest. And yet his master, Baba Nanak, walked into the forest deeper and deeper and deeper, resonating with Sat Kartar, Sat Kartar, Sat Kartar. The deeper they went into the forest, the more fearful and insecure Mardana became. Eventually, Baba Nanak ji stopped. He looked around at Mardana. Mardana, my son, you are tired. Tonight, we will take a rest here. You go to sleep and we will carry on tomorrow at first sunrise. Mardana ji clasped both his shaking hands together. Master, may I make a request? Yes, my son. If it pleases you, my master, can we carry on? I cannot sleep here. I do not feel comfortable. Let us get out of this forest. Then I will sleep. Baba, I sense much evil here. This forest is very frightening. Baba, I have never experienced this experience before. Baba Nanak ji smiles. Mardana, all will be well, my child. The journey is long. Tonight, the divine order is that we sleep here. Dutifully, the disciple went to make his master's bed as comfortable as he could with the few old sheets that he had. Baba said, son, you rest, I am fine. The ground was wet, so out of his backpack, he took some sheets, laid them on the ground, and using his backpack as a pillow, he put his rabab, the musical instrument that he carried, on one side and tried to go to sleep. However, Mardana was struggling to go to sleep. He was tossing and turning and tossing and turning. He sensed that there was the presence of evil in the forest, and he was getting chills right through his bones. As he laid his head down onto the ground, he could hear demonic voices coming from the ground beneath him. So many voices screaming at him, laughing at him, taunting him. He opened his eyes and he saw his master in samadhi, perfectly poised. And he looked around and he felt he was surrounded by swarms of lost souls walking aimlessly. Demonic faces glaring at him, their eyes fiery red like burning coals. He was bewildered and scared. Baba, I am scared. What is going on? I do not understand. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, son, do not be scared. For what you are about to experience is the force of Kaliyuga. The full force of Kaliyuga. Remember, my son, all that you see is a deception, an illusion. Nothing is real. However real it feels, stay connected with the divine, with the Ekonkar Satnam. Just observe the wonders of the divine, my son. Keep focus. With these words, Baba Nanak Ji went back into samadhi. The wind starts to become stronger and stronger. The leaves started to swirl around and around like a tornado in the air. The branches of the trees began to shake violently. In the distance, Mardana sees a hideous, evil spirit, a demon-like figure, so large that it felt that its head was touching the heavens above, making its way to Baba Nanak. Babaji looked at Mardana. Son, wake up. The time is here. Play your rabab. Let us sing the glories of the divine. Mardana ji opened his rabab and Guruji started to sing the Kirtan of the divine. The demon was striding towards Baba Nanak Ji. And as the vibrations of the divine Shabd mantra resonated through the forest, Eko Ankar, Eko Ankar, Eko Ankar, Eko Ankar, Satnam Karta Purkh, Satnam Karta Purkh, Eko Ankar, Eko Ankar. Baba Nanak started singing the Mool Mantra. And this divine mantra resonated through the forest. And this apparition, this demon, uh, and looked so large, so menacing, started to become smaller and smaller and smaller. And as the apparition approached Baba Nanak, it took a human form. And it stands in front of Baba Nanak. Wearing a blanket with little holes in it. Who are you? Asked Baba Nanak. I am Kaliyuga, replied the demon. Where do you live? Asked Baba Nanak. The demon starts laughing, sending a cold, freezing sensation into the air. A menacing sensation. Where do I live? Everywhere I am. All is mine, all is mine. I live in everyone. There is nobody who has escaped me. How do you live? Babaji asked. I exist covertly. I exist so subtle, so subtle, so subtle that the human being has no ideas. I am a cloud of negative energy that the many will never see. What is your purpose here? Asked Baba. I've come to meet you. Stop preaching the message of the one divine. Come with me. I will offer you kingdoms, jewels, all the pleasures of the world. Baba Nanak replied, Shaitan, what more can you offer me? Shaitan is referred to the devil in Persian language. More? You ask. I can give you mountains of gold. I can give you many palaces. I can lay the floor you walk on with layers of diamonds. I can offer you the power to travel from one universe to another. I can show you those worlds that the eye cannot see. What more can you offer me? I can make you the Sultan of all Sultans. Baba Nanak looked and smiled. What is this blanket that you are wearing? And why does it have many holes? This is the blanket of illusion, the blanket of Maya. And the whole world is fast asleep in the warmth of this blanket. In the warmth of this blanket, Baba, people have forgotten their mortality. They have forgotten their purpose. They have forgotten the divine and the divine virtues. They have forgotten to love. My purpose, Baba, is simply to stop people connecting to the divine. Baba, you looked at a few holes in this blanket. And what are those holes? The demon shrieked. These holes are those very people who have recognized me, recognized my illusion, and have broken free from the illusion, replied the demon. How many times in the morning we want to get up? It's meditation time. And you hear this voice inside you saying, Nana, go to sleep, I'm tired. Next time, understand where that voice is coming from. Meditation done early hours of the morning is sublimely more beautiful and more peaceful and accepted. Amrit vela sach naam vadiyai vichar. Amrit, the time when beautiful souls are meditating and it resonates in the whole of the atmosphere. Truly a beautiful time. And yet the Maya says go to sleep. And we put our sheets and go to sleep, fallen in the illusion of Maya. How difficult is it for us to do the right things spiritually? Reflect upon yourself. Don't answer to me. How easy is it for you to become angry, frustrated, annoyed, jealous, attachments? How easy? Very easy. And how difficult is it for us to be forgiving, spiritual, adopting divine values, which is going to decorate the temple of our mind and our heart? मन मंदर तन वेश कलंदर काटी ही तीरथ नावा एक शब्द मेरे प्राण बसत है बहुड़ जन्म नाया. This temple of ours, decorated with those beautiful garbs. Which garbs? Of a sweet tongue, humbleness, love and compassion. How difficult is it? To do the right thing has become very, very difficult. You know why? That is Maya. That is Kaliyuga. To do the wrong thing is very easy. You know why? That is Kaliyuga. I want you to reflect upon Kaliyuga in your every moment of your thinking. This is so, so important. You have to introspect yourself. We live through life without thinking, without respect. We are justifying every aspect. I have seen so much professional jealousy. I have seen jealousy in spiritualists. Collecting followers. A true spiritualist, his arms are like that, my saint used to say. Come. Jaya means welcome. Go. Goodbye. That's it. Anybody wishes to stay? Stay, he said to me, son. Bahadur, this is the way you must carry on these teachings. People will come, welcome them. People will go, goodbye. People who want to stay, teach. No holding on. So this Kaliyuga is in every aspect of our thinking, our emotions. It's even more dense than the DNA within us. And we are absolutely in the shackles of Kaliyuga. You want to meditate? You want to become a spiritual teacher? Tackle these issues first. Otherwise, there will be a big price to pay for you and your followers. Don't attach anybody to yourself. Attach them to the divine. Kaliyuga is an entrapment. And we are all tied into this Kaliyuga. And this is why building good karma is virtually impossible without a good, honest, enlightened, preordained spiritual soul who has no interest in following, who has no interest in your pockets, who has no interest in acknowledgement. No interest. This experience of Baba Nanak Ji was put down in the scriptures. मोती ता मंदर उस रहे रतनी ता हो है जड़ाओ कस्तूर कुंगू अगर चंदन लीप आवे चाओ मत देख भूला विसरे तेरा चेत ना आवे नाम. If I had a palace made of pearls, inlaid with jewels, scented with musk, saffron and sandalwood, and a sheer delight to behold, seeing this, I might go astray and forget your name. Baba Nanak's experience. Let's go back further in time. Walking in the Middle Eastern sands, the deserts, was Jesus. He was preparing for his ministry. He was fasting. And he went to spend 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. After the fasting, the devil came to him and said, if you are truly the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Because the Lord Jesus had been fasting for 40 days. Jesus answered, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the divine God. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus answered, it is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. So the devil took him to a very high mountain and again showed him all the kingdoms of the world. And this is a common feature in both of this, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was experienced to this, and as was Jesus. All the kingdoms of the world and their splendor, all this I will give you, he said, if you bow down and worship me. Exactly the same experience of Baba Nanak. Yet, hundreds of years apart, Jesus said to him, away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. According to Matthew, the devil left him and the angels came. Now there's a very similar narration in the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. According to the book, The Tree of Being, the Prophet Muhammad was in congregation during his stay in a house of one of his disciples. The door was shut and the congregation had responded to the dua and they had just sat down. As the Prophet started preaching on the beauty and the oneness of the divine Allah, and the congregation was sitting down nicely just listening, a loud voice from outside shrieked, screamed at the Prophet. Oh, you, the one inside, would you permit me to enter? This voice shouted. I have business with you. One of his disciples drew his sword. If you give me permission, let me slay this insolent man. Does he not know who you are? Does he not know we are sitting here listening? The prophet looked at his disciple. Son, sit down, for this will not die by your sword. All looked at the prophet. The prophet looked at the congregation and smiled and asked, do any of you recognize the owner of this voice? And the congregation just looked at each other. No. The prophet said, this is Satan, the accursed, the shaitan. When people heard this, they became very frightened. The prophet orders the shaitan to be let in. The doors were opened, and this figure, a very frightening figure, a very weird looking figure, walks up to the prophet, and a conversation starts. And this is a very long conversation according to the script, but I will just highlight a few past parts of that conversation. The prophet said, Shaitan, when my people pray, what happens to you? Shaitan, the devil, Kaliyuga, starts to shake and tremble. Was the reply. Shake and tremble, shake and tremble. This is what happens to me when your people pray. When your people respect the divine. What happens when they all meet on Hajj at the house of their Lord? I go mad with anger. I cannot do anything, but I go mad. What happens to you when they recite the Holy Quran? I melt like lead turning to hot liquid in the fire. The prophet looked at the shaitan, the devil. Tell me, who are the true servers of Allah according to you? The devil replies, you know very well, O Muhammad, that whomsoever loves his money and his property, Allah does not count among his servants. If your mind is completely attached to every aspect of your creation, your words will not impress Allah. When I see someone and all they're saying is me, mine, me, and all they want is flattery, whether it's their money or whether it's in the religious circles, oh wow, he's wonderful, oh wow, how great he is. He is not pleasing to Allah, replied the shaitan. For Allah does not like such a person. I run away from a true servant of Allah. I have no place there. In the Sikh scriptures, it says, Jeh sadhu gobind bhajan kirtan nanak neet ana hona tune shute nikt na jayo doot. Where a holy pious saint, sadhu. Now who's a sadhu? Not wearing white clothes, let's get that right. My master used to say, sadh means clean. Something, when you do sadhu to something, you are cleaning it. And that sadhu who has cleaned their mind and their heart from the 5 thieves, they are sadhus. And when they sing and you sit in that company, no shaitan, no devil is allowed to come anywhere near you. How many of you are there? Muhammad asked. I am not alone. First, everybody who loves money, property, flattery, they are under my control. A very similar experience again to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. What do you mean you are not alone? The devil screams, and according to the text, his reply was, I have 70,000 children, and each of them have their assigned duties. And each of my 70,000 children has 70,000 Satans serving him. And they are all assigned to different posts. I rule in this world. There was a very famous saint, and I heard the tape of a possessed lad who was a very young lad, and this possession was done by somebody by the name of Suleiman. And I heard this young lad, and at a very tender age, he was actually reciting the whole of the Quran in a very manly voice, and yet he was a very, very young child. It was very famous, a very old tape, which I heard myself. And the saint, whose name was Baba Ishwar Singh at that time, asked him, Shaitan, how many of you are there in Kaljug? And the voice inside this young child replied, there are 3.5 times more of us in Kaljug than there are of you in the human form. And many of you in the human form are mine also. So this has given us a little bit of a background of Kaljug. Now, how does it affect us is something we will discuss next week. We are very close to our time. It's 8:20, and many people requested to finish earlier so that they could watch football, and which is perfectly fine. So this has given us some background of those who have the prophets sharing their experiences with us. And now we need to analyze this and ask them, how does this affect us? Yes. When we talk about demonic possessions, exactly what are we talking about? It's going to be a beautiful talk. And by the time I think we will finish this, you will have a very comprehensive understanding of Kaljug. I hope, if the blessed guides me in that direction. But lovely, thank you. It's beautiful. Please share and tell everybody. My master used to say, and I say this every week, there is no greater spiritual virtue than connecting people to the divine. And on this forum, every religion, every background, every understanding, we are a bouquet of flowers. How boring would it be if this bouquet of flowers was simply one color? No, 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 no. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a Baha'i, whether you're a Jain, or whether you're a Sikh, we are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. Ik Onkar. Full stop.